play the game.
The halftime show was awful.
I didn't like halftime.
The worst halftime ever.
The Alex Earl Carl's Jr. commercial is literally sending chills down my spine. That girls were supposed to be unbelievably thin while being obsessed with eating only cheeseburgers.
Taylor Swift is ruining the NFL.
This Hims and Hers ad during the Super Bowl is so insidious and also quite possibly illegal.
40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music.
I think I can feel my heart racing. Y'all, like and subscribe before it's too late for me.
Hello everybody, it is me, Salem, and welcome to my commentary channel, where we take serious topics and dissect them in a not so serious way. Today's topic, the crazy aftermath of the Super Bowl.
Girl, was that a voodoo doll?
Pray, then I gotta get it out. I gotta pray.
Hello everybody, it is me, Salem, and welcome back to my channel. Or should I say, sports broadcast channel? Yes, guys, I am in my sports broadcaster era. What's that over there? Is it someone making a touchdown? You know what I say, any hole is a goal.
What did you say?
Any hole is a goal.
I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys are feeling fun and fresh, not too angry. The reason why I say that is because it seems like everyone is pissed off lately. The reason why? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I am not a researcher, but you know what I am? I am a complainer. Yes, ma'am, I am. And that is exactly what we're gonna do in today's video because y'all, the aftermath of the Super Bowl is a mess. Now, if you guys didn't see my video last Sunday, first of all, why didn't you? Second of all, I made a video last Sunday about TikTok doctors, nurses, and just healthcare TikTok in general and the social media realm and how crazy it can be, from people twerking on their elderly patients to plastic surgeons live streaming their surgeries on TikTok. Like, it is so wild. I even had a special guest, which was my sister, Penny Tovar from Nurse TikTok, to basically have a conversation with me about how crazy that realm is. It was super fun. So if you guys haven't seen it, definitely give it a watch. It'll be right here. I will wait. But you know what else was last Sunday? The Super Bowl. Sports. Now, if you're watching this and you're like, Salem, I literally do not care about football. First of all, me neither. But second of all, I'm gonna still go to the Super Bowl parties and stuff like that because I love me some chicken wings. The food slaps every single year. It's a good excuse to drink. Who said that? Mom, if you're watching this, it's just a joke. Era un broma.
To bust you inside your head. Make what? There's a camera on you, baby. There's a camera on me right back behind you. Oh, hello, praise the Lord.
I usually take my Nintendo Switch and I just play my Nintendo Switch and then take a nap until the halftime show, which, first of all, the halftime show was so good. Not Kendrick saying, say Drake.
Say Drake, I hate you like I'm young.
Kendrick once again showing us that the more that you hate, the more you can achieve in life, you know, and I really, you know, take that personally, you know, very inspirational. But the whole thing surrounding the Super Bowl, I am just a big fan of it. I love the food, the atmosphere, the togetherness, the commercials, which this year the commercials were questionable. Let's just say that, questionable. I was disturbed. I might sue for mental distress, quite frankly. I love the halftime performances. It's just an overall really good time. However, is it me, or does it seem like every single year the Super Bowl happens, the reactions and aftermath tends to get more and more messy, and there seems to be more and more outrage and negativity. People be rejoicing, some people be crying, some people be making voodoo dolls out of their least favorite players in hopes that they lose. Like, people go all out. People really take this serious, okay? Sports games, especially the Super Bowl, can really bring out emotions in people that you have never seen. Like, people literally go crazy, okay? But most commonly, you see people get triggered. Yes, I said it, triggered. For a sport and an event that's supposed to bring everyone together, it seems like every year, it just makes people get angrier and cause more division. Whether it's because of the commercials, political commercials, whether it's because of the halftime shows being too loud and too rowdy, to people getting angry that the cameras show 2 seconds of Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift is ruining the NFL.
Shut up! Who cares? It's stupid! You make me
me want to throw up. I don't understand. Like,
first of all, not too much of my girl Tay Tay, okay? And in general, it seems like every single year that seems to be a reoccurring common theme where people are just angry, especially this year with certain commercials such as the Him and Hers weight loss commercial, the Alex Earl Carl's Jr. commercial, even to the Kendrick Lamar halftime show. So many people had so much to say about just everything that went on in the Super Bowl this year.
Which, I mean, it happens every single year, so it's expected. Especially since this year broke so many records. The 2025 Super Bowl averaged a record-setting 127.7 million viewers across all platforms, with even Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime show becoming the most watched halftime show performance of all time, even surpassing Michael Jackson, which is why it's no wonder why so many people are either praising the aftermath of all of this, or some people are just downright angry. Every year without fail, the Super Bowl sparks some sort of outrage to the point where it stops being about the game itself and the teams, that it's starting to create just a larger pattern. That's because the Super Bowl is more than just a game. It's an event that reflects American culture and the overall zeitgeist of what's been going on in our current pop culture, music industries, problems we face as a country, and so much more. The question still remains, is it that society is becoming too woke, or are we just becoming more easily offended? Is Taylor Swift really truly ruining football, or is it just the fact that society can't handle a woman being on screen without her overly sexualizing herself? And are commercials of women sexualizing themselves just a larger conversation surrounding how Y2K diet culture is coming back, or proof that the things that we fought so hard to get rid of not too long ago are coming back in a full swing? Or even halftime shows? Are artists no longer able to use their art to make a statement?
Is there such thing as being too political? Is there such thing as being too outspoken, too loud, being too woke? Is there such thing as people getting just offended over anything that's happening?
Are people taking this cultural event just way too serious and way too personal?
Even down to the fact that some commercials have caused DV amongst relationships.
Look, the truth is, whether we want to not admit it, or if we do admit it, whatever it is that you think, it all boils down to this. Unfortunately and fortunately, the Super Bowl has a stage that has always been a breeding ground for culture, business, and identities to not only be challenged, but also to be celebrated, but also to collide. So when people demand that the politics, the art, the controversies be stripped away, what they're really asking for is an event without meaning, without the very things that make it what it is. And with how big this event is getting every single year, the future that we are seeing being formed of the Super Bowl was completely inevitable. Sure, maybe once upon a time the Super Bowl only consisted of things like this. But as society grows and as our culture grows, these cultural events grow alongside them. Because the truth is, we just didn't always have the internet to argue about it.
If people keep getting offended at the Super Bowl and creating such a chaotic aftermath, pretty soon the Super Bowl is gonna look like this. And believe me, people will still find a way to get offended. This video is going to just be a deep dive on everything that's been happening in the aftermath of the Super Bowl and just how much of a mess it is, but also why it's so important that we talk about it. Even down to the symbolism in Kendrick Lamar's halftime show performance and just so much more that a lot of people aren't talking about. But y'all already know the drill. I am always here to complain and have you guys watch, and I appreciate that. So today's gonna be another long one, so grab a snack, get comfy, get into bed with me, and let's deep dive into the Super Bowl and talk about how the soup has gone cold.
Sorry y'all, I couldn't think of a transition. Anyways, y'all know the drill, I gotta pay my bills.
Even though the world is so messy right now, y'all don't have to let that outside mess affect your inner light, let alone your outer light, especially your hair. I have been on a mission to find the right hair care routine for me, and guys, I actually found it. Thank you to Kitsch. Now, at first I was like, solid bars? I swear my hair's so picky that it will literally fight you, even when exposed to air, okay? But to my surprise, it actually worked really well. Let's talk about how good the hair looks, especially after being dyed like 10 million times. And the secret is actually rice water. It helps with hair growth, strengthens strands, and reduces breakage without any of the harsh stuff. And when I mean without any of the harsh stuff, I mean this has no parabens, silicones, sulfates, sulfates or phthalates. Just clean ingredients, not only for your scalp, but also the earth. These bars are sustainable, travel friendly, especially with Kitsch's shower caddy, which also keeps them dry and lasting longer. And the best part is each bar is under $11 with my discount. Or you can grab the entire set for $21. Kitsch ships worldwide, and they even have a subscription option for extra savings. You can scan this QR code or use my code Salem for 25% off your order. All right, let's get into today's video.
Also, did anyone else clock like the commercials for the Super Bowl? There were so many like, oh, let's stop hating each other, like progressive ass commercials. Like, y'all don't gotta come out with all these like progressive commercials. We could have just not been in the situation in the first place.
The Alex Earl Carl's Jr. commercial is literally sending chills down my spine. Okay, it has been since 2017 that we were free from this mindset that girls were supposed to be unbelievably thin while being obsessed with eating only cheeseburgers.
This Hims and Hers ad during the Super Bowl is so insidious and also quite possibly illegal.
The American system is designed to keep us sick.
They profit off of diet culture.
Buy our weight loss drug.
So what's up, guys? I spent like all the money for the commercial on these new teeth. So once again, I had to shoot it on the iPhone.
Discussion topic 1. From touchdowns to capitalistic outrage culture. How the Super Bowl became very superficial.
Now, if y'all are like, girl, I don't even know what the hell the Super Bowl is, I got you. In order to understand how things got from this to this
is the future of healthcare.
Once again, I had to shoot it on the iPhone.
All right.
we first need to talk about the origins of the Super Bowl and how commercial power rose within the Super Bowl culture as a whole, because it wasn't always like this. There wasn't a huge production for the halftime show. Commercials were not this crazy either. I mean, we really went from the halftime shows being heavily criticized for being notoriously bad and boring, and commercials being too long or simplistic, to literally whatever this is. I mean, people to this day still think that the halftime shows and commercials are boring and stuff, and it's like, girl, is there anything that can please you people? Like, for real. But anyways, it's actually very interesting to see how this culture has kind of just wrapped together to make the Super Bowl just a powerhouse and such a staple in American culture, because it truly represents everything about America. We're talking freedom of speech, sports, hot women eating burgers, money, lots of it, literally. According to a recent study, the average price of a Super Bowl commercial is $8 million.
There's no way in hell this is $5 million. Well, for me, this is $5 million.
Over time, the Super Bowl evolved into a major cultural event, with its commercials becoming a significant highlight. Especially in the 1970s, companies began to recognize that the game's vast viewership was an opportunity for impactful advertising. Notable early examples: Xerox's 1977 Monk's commercial, which showcased the brand's new photocopier.
The Xerox 9200 duplicating system, unlike anything we've ever made.
Simpler times.
When America respected family values and wasn't so overly saturated with money and corruption. Nowadays, it's just blasphemy, politics, and sexiness. Bro, be so for real. It's always been that way. Even back in the day, the Super Bowl had commercials like Farrah Fawcett, quote unquote, creaming a man's face.
I'm so excited. I'm gonna get creamed.
Political ads such as Reagan's Morning in America.
Nearly 2,000 families today will buy new homes, more than at any time in the past 4 years. 6,500 young men and women will be married. And with inflation at less than half of what it was just 4 years ago, they can look forward with confidence.
Or big religious organizations such as the American Bible Society airing ads during big TV events, including the Super Bowl, encouraging viewers to read the Bible and seek guidance through scripture. Advertisements sharing religious beliefs. And guess what? It still hasn't changed at all. We just didn't have the internet to talk about it or to argue over it.
And just as the crazy commercials have been a part of the theme of Super Bowl culture every single year, it seems like a part of that is also people taking advantage of the fact that there are a lot of people watching. I mean, just this year, there was 127.7 million people watching the Super Bowl. And every year, companies, celebrities, advertisements, brands, whatever, really take advantage of that to make a political statement, to show off their art, or do what Kanye did, which is film on his iPhone. Girl, no. And it seems like every single year, people get mad at certain commercials. Every year, there's a commercial that's a little too weird, a little too controversial, a little too much. And sometimes I agree with it. It always sparks a huge outrage, so much debates online, and way too much attention, which just means that the advertisement did its job. Just last year, there was a couple of controversial commercials, one of them being the He Gets Us advertisement. Now, this particular commercial showed people washing each other's patas, that's feet for y'all, kind of like showing what Jesus would do for people. And a lot of people thought that this commercial was very empowering and that it showed the love of Christ, but other people were like, Jesus would never do this. He would never.
But in fact, if you know Jesus for yourself, if you have the Holy Spirit, you would know that this commercial is deceptive.
Unfortunately, the He Gets Us ad, just like the ones last year, are theologically disappointing. They are politically to the left.
My entire For You page today has been all these Christians being super upset about the ad, saying that Jesus did not wash everyone's feet. Jesus only washed his disciples' feet.
Inspired by social justice warriors who care far more about Marxism than the kingdom of God.
Now, you guys know that I come from a religious background and I still very much practice a lot of my faith. I understand the messaging of this, ad and the intention behind it. But I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I would never let anyone wash my feet. A lot of people said that this commercial had AI images, so that was like a whole nother conversation surrounding it. Other people made points that if the people who made this ad really cared about people, they would take that $1 billion that they spent on all of these ad campaigns and everything and use it for actual people in crisis. And honestly, I agree.
What if instead of spending $1 billion on ad campaigns, they'd spent $1 billion to actually help refugees?
Kind of aim to make people discuss and start just really powered conversations surrounding the subject matter. And they usually tackle one of the three things. And these three things are kind of what encapsulates American culture and pop culture. The more divisiveness you can create through these things, the better, because that is how you get the utmost attention. And these three things tend to cause the most controversial and divisiveness in our society. The first being politics, which also includes religion, a play on shock culture or weirdness for the hopes of virality, and of course, over-sexualization culture. And these are running themes that we have seen not only in the past of the whole Super Bowl cultural event, but just, in our culture in general, that we see it repeating every single year, and every single year people act surprised. And the whole Alex Earl, Carl's Jr. commercial is kind of a testament to history repeating itself.
In 2015, there was a very controversial commercial starring Charlotte McKinney. The commercial shows McKinney attracting stares from men while practically being naked before taking a bite of the all-natural burger, which is from Carl's Jr. And this advertisement got so much backlash. Many people were saying like, really, Carl's Jr., y'all are just a damn burger. What's sexy about eating a damn burger? Which, first of all, I have something to admit to y'all. I love Carl's Jr. But like, why do they have to make advertisements that are like this? I don't understand. Like, your food is good in itself, okay? Anyways, some people were tweeting it that it set back feminism 4 decades. Some people were saying that it was super unnecessary or that it was super inappropriate because many people watch the Super Bowl with their children. The backlash was so great that we actually didn't see this type of commercial for a very, very long time. In general, the Super Bowl tends to have overly sexualized commercials in general. I remember one year there was a GoDaddy advertisement where there was like this lady full on hardcore making out with somebody. And I remember seeing that with my family a long time ago. And we were all genuinely shocked because I'm like, bro, like low-key, this is like softcore corn. And because of those controversies, we didn't see those types of advertisements for a really long time.
In general, the way that our cultural tone was heading towards was more so about body positivity, women empowerment, and just in general, less catering to the male gaze, with the cultural shift more so swinging to the left of ideologies. These types of advertisements, models, and just themes started to become very taboo in mainstream media. It was generally frowned upon for a couple of years, that I think a lot of people were genuinely shocked to see the revival of the sexy blonde white woman eating a burger trope with a Gen Z icon, Alex Earl, come back into full swing. But honestly, guys, I'm not surprised.
Y'all know that in many of my YouTube videos, I talk about how the culture shifts like a pendulum. We saw woke culture taking over. We saw commercials being more, you know, pro-feminism and everything. But I've also talked about how the Y2K skinny is coming back. The over-sexualization culture is coming back. It's just a pendulum. History repeats itself. And y'all, I stand here being right, because the Carl's Jr. sexy girl ads are back, and with Alex Earl. I did not expect to see this coming. I don't think many people did. Now, if you guys don't know who Alex Earl is, she is a TikToker with millions and millions of followers, and she's really famous for just existing, I guess. As always, mediocrity somehow gets people following them. I don't get it. But anyways, she did a Super Bowl commercial for Carl's Jr., basically revamping and also bringing back to life that trope that people tried so hard to kill off not too long ago. And this really started a huge conversation online, especially on TikTok, with Gen Z viewers, basically saying like, why did this get brought back despite it being really like controversial and everything? Some people were really disappointed in Alex Earl for over sexualizing women, especially women just trying to eat a damn burger. Like, I don't know about y'all, but I do not look cute when I eat. Like, I'm sorry, I'm gonna pull a Patrick with my mouth stuffed. I think women have so much to be worried about already of, oh, I have to look hot while eating a salad. I have to look hot while doing this. Like, can I just be ugly? Can I just be ugly for 1 second, bro? That sometimes I can see why it's so disappointing when commercials like this get praised or they get reinstated back into our culture despite people fighting for years to have this type of commercials gone. But also, again, I'm not surprised to see it come back because, again, our culture is a pendulum swing. But just in general, this was a major conversation about just how this is super recession core, which is such a, can I just say, like, that term is such a brain rot thing to say, but it truly, you know, stays true. A lot of people are saying the fact that Lady Gaga's Abracadabra is coming back, like pop music is back, the super over sexualized commercials being back, no one being able to afford anything is back. Like, low-key, it's showing all the signs of a future recession. That's honestly kind of crazy to just know that I have lived long enough to see the culture swing back and forth continuously. I think Alex Earl looked amazing in that video. She is so gorgeous. I will say she is also a philanthropist. I know that she has a scholarship program, which is super cool. And honestly, if she got hella paid for that commercial, I am always going to be pro women getting that bag and getting that coin. No shame in that. But unfortunately, there is a larger cultural implication behind it. I will say that this is also proof that the body positivity movement was never real. I've talked a lot about this in my videos before. Just the mere fact that we were able to quickly swing from embrace yourselves, love yourselves, to revamping stuff like this is just proof, in my opinion, that the body positivity movement truly was nothing but just a quick money grab from celebrities to brainwash people into loving themselves, even though they themselves took Ozempic and everything. Again, the clip from South Park rings true.
Rich people get Ozempic, poor people get body positivity.
Speaking of weight loss, there was another commercial this year that was considered highly inappropriate. It was the Him and Hers weight loss ad. The Super Bowl commercial, at first glance, seemed to be kind of like a criticism of big pharma, you know, pharmacy companies overpricing medication, also an awareness surrounding obesity in America, talking about diet culture and all these revolutionary things. At first, the commercial seemed to be doing a really good job at bringing awareness to these things, you know, until the commercial was basically like, you're fat.
You're fat. You're fatty. Doesn't bother me.
Keep eating, fatty.
And since you're a fat fatty, don't use Ozempic. Use our weight loss drugs instead.
Hims and Hers offers life-changing weight loss medications.
Like what? So you guys decided to bash Big Pharma, yet you started to promote your pharmacy? Make it make sense. I'm telling you, y'all, all these people would just be money hungry. Bashing weight loss products such as Wegovy and Ozempic, as well as bashing the FDA, only to turn around and promote their version of a weight loss drug. And the craziest part about all this is that they did this advertisement to the song of This Is America by Childish Gambino. And that in itself is just crazy because that song represents so much more than just Ozempic. The song This Is America by Childish Gambino is literally about black culture in the United States and also armed violence in the country. And I don't know if he approved for this brand to use his song for something so dumb, but it's just shocking that they would go with this song for their advertisement. Also, fun fact, the song This Is America started off as a Drake diss.
That was all we had, was like that line, and it started as a Drake diss, to be honest. It's like,
y'all heard of the circle of life and how it comes back around? It's the circle of Drake, because I swear everything traces back to him and how everyone hates him.
Oh, call decline. Embarrassing.
People were really upset about this commercial because the hypocrisy was just like, there's no way that they thought this was a good ad. This advertisement is literally so hypocritical and so ironic, especially because their products aren't even FDA approved. This controversy was so big, y'all, that Him and Hers had to make a statement. Him and Hers gave a CNBC statement on Friday saying, "We are complying with the existing law and are happy to continue working with Congress and the new administration to fix the broken health system and ensure that patients have choices for quality, safe, and affordable healthcare." Girl, me when I lie. Now, if you guys don't understand why this is so dangerous, it's because non-approved FDA drugs like the Him and Hers weight loss semaglutide is because not only can it be dangerous, but there could be chemicals in it that are not approved at all for you and can cause more nausea, health problems, and all of that stuff. And it could lead to worse outcomes for you and your health than pros. And it probably doesn't work, yet you'll still be paying the same amount. It's actually kind of insane to think about just how weight loss drugs and Ozempic and all this stuff has become so huge that there are now commercials dedicated to it and being promoted to 127.7 million Americans. I don't know how to feel. That's just so, in my opinion, just like really dystopian. And the commercial itself is like trying to call out Big Pharma and the healthcare system being horrible and stuff. And then they're like, here's the solution, our product that is also a weight loss drug. Let's be so real, guys. Yes, the healthcare system here in America is terrible, but the true things that need to be focused on isn't freaking quick solutions that were, by the way, originally meant for diabetic and chronically ill people that celebrities just hijacked for themselves. But anyways, I digress. The real focus when it comes to health in America and everything needs to be banning food dyes, okay? There's proof that food dyes, especially, red 40 and stuff like that, as much as I love my hot Cheetos, they really do cause really bad, side effects. Banning sugary cereals that are way too accessible for kids in America. There needs to be more awareness on how to have a balanced diet. The fact that there are so many big companies like Coca-Cola telling kids in school, like, yes, drink our products so that you can grow up big and healthy. Like, girl, be so for real right now. That is the stuff that big companies and millionaires and all that type of stuff who are paying for these damn commercials like Him and Hers need to be focusing on. It's just overall really ridiculous to see these companies act like they're not a part of the problem. Like, it's giving pick me energy, but company version, you know what I mean? All I can say is that there needs to be more awareness with health in general, how to take back your power in being healthy and stuff. If y'all want to take semaglutide, that's fine. If they want to make semaglutide more accessible and more affordable, that's fine. But at the end of the day, you still got to put in work, okay? A lot of people say, Ozempic doesn't work, you gain back all the way afterwards. That's only if you don't exercise daily and still eat well. But how can people know what a good diet is or how many, exercises to do a week and everything or every day when there just isn't enough accessibility for that for everyone? I think just this commercial was a huge hit or miss and deserved all the criticism. It was very, very, very performative, which tends to be a running theme with a lot of like commercials nowadays when it comes to the Super Bowl and stuff, where a lot of these companies, they truly don't believe in what they're selling, and you can literally see it.
Even when it comes to political ads, they've definitely tried to make more political ads either really out there or super like baby food for the audience so that they don't get too into trouble. But even then, it just comes off as just really forced. I know this year there was a huge problem also with the Snoop Dogg anti-hate commercial.
I hate you because we're from different neighborhoods.
I hate you because you look different.
I hate you because I don't understand you.
I hate you because people I know hate you.
This ad in and of itself, I think, is from a different era. Like, this would have went hard for resistance liberals in like 2017. It's giving Kendall Jenner Pepsi, okay?
They only want you to talk about their advertisements. They only want to go viral for the sake of going viral, which again, like I said earlier in this video, is like, well, they did their job. They went viral, they got their moment and everything, but also at the same time, y'all are wasting your $8 million, you know, because that's the cost of the slot, because people are going to just not buy your stuff. So even though you want to make your video viral and have your cute little moment, really reconsider how you're marketing it, because that $8 million is going to go down the toilet, okay? At this point, there could be a Super Bowl commercial about how someone solved world peace and people would still be like,
that was too woke. Or on the other side of the spectrum, that wasn't woke enough. Everybody's a critic.
I feel that way about the halftime show too. It seems like no matter who you are or whatever, you're still gonna get dragged.
40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music.
Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl 2025 halftime show was dripping with secret messages.
The halftime show was awful.
I didn't like halftime.
The worst halftime ever.
What a nightmare. I kept sitting there saying, you know, maybe I just don't get this guy. This guy, Kendall Lamar, and he won all these Grammys.
It was so bad, Jimmy Carter came back to life just to turn off the TV.
Loud, too reckless, too ghetto. Mr. Lamar, do you really know how to play the game?
Discussion topic 2. Kendrick Lamar versus the Great Culture War. How Kendrick Lamar's halftime show pissed off everyone, and why that's a good thing.
Not only did the commercials create a huge stir this year, but so did the halftime show. And if you guys don't know what the halftime show is, basically it's a show at halftime. That's all you need to know. But did you know that the halftime show used to be more so like this?
Now, they are witnessing a genuine football classic. And even sites such as this can't curb their impatience for the second half to get underway.
And people say that they want the old halftime shows back, I would fall asleep. Yeah, the halftime show was not usually a thing. That's a fairly newer thing in the cultural shift of the Super Bowl. The halftime Super Bowl show originally began as a relatively simple affair featuring marching bands, drill teams, and performance group from local colleges. The first Super Bowl in 1967 included performances by the University of Arizona and Gambling State University marching bands, as well as a demonstration by a jetpack pilot. During the 1970s and 1980s, the NFL experimented with different halftime formats, such as incorporating themes, guest celebrities, and larger musical acts. However, the performances remained secondary to the game itself. Now, if you're wondering how the hell did it become such a huge thing in the culture of the Super Bowl, and also just a culture thing for just America in general, for each generation, the turning point came in 1993 when Michael Jackson headlined the Super Bowl halftime show. His performance, which included hits like Billie Jean and Black or White, drew massive viewership and changed the perception of the halftime entertainment forever, basically. From that point on, Michael Jackson really did change the halftime show from boring flute performances and people doing a little 1-2 to full-on hee-hees, moonwalks, pyrotechnics, and everything. From that point on, the halftime show became a spectacle featuring major pop stars, elaborate stage setups, and millions of dollars in production value. Today, the Super Bowl halftime show is one of the most anticipated entertainment events of the year, often rivaling the game itself. itself in cultural significance. The star power that would come afterwards, such as Beyonce, which was crazy, Lady Gaga's, which was my absolute favorite to this day, was so good. The dance, the visuals, everything. Shakira and J-Lo. It really is iconic. And this year, Kendrick Lamar was the one to do the halftime show featuring SZA. And y'all, it was so good. I mean, I personally only watched the Super Bowl because of the halftime show. Y'all best believe that I was dancing. As the fact that Kendrick Lamar played Not Like Us, which is a diss track towards Drake, which he won 5 Grammys for, and he was able to make the entire stadium, the Super Bowl stadium, yell A minor. Honestly, if I was Drake, it's a wrap, bro. It's a wrap. Like, you have no choice but to change your identity and go back to Canada. Maybe, you know, you can start another company to get money, you know, maybe sell little clay figurines or something, but you can't come back to music. You can't, I fear. Kendrick has completely ended that for you. I think everything about the Kendrick Lamar and SZA Super Bowl halftime show was amazing. The choreography was amazing. The music was good. Not gonna lie, it was a little hard to hear Kendrick in some parts when he was rapping, and also it's always hard when a rapper does the halftime show because there's a lot of censorship. Like, I swear Kendrick sounded like that one meme where everything is bleeped out like every 2 seconds. But just as previous years with Beyonce or Rihanna and stuff, there tends to be accusations of being too political and also Satanism.
Beyonce's halftime performance during the Ravens and Texans game was demonic. For instance, she rode out on the white horse. And if you know exactly what that is associated with.
Okay. Whatever that means.
And unfortunately, our boy Kendrick did not escape these allegations. I, for one, really enjoyed it when there was so much talk about like Beyonce being like a Satanist and showing Illuminati signs, which you guys know I was part of a super religious cult. And trust me, people still think this way to this day, where they'll see someone wearing red on television and they're like, it's a sign. It's a sign that they're part of the Illuminati. When in reality, it's just like their favorite color is red, and it's literally not that deep. I remember I watched the Super Bowl with some people, you know, God bless their hearts. And there was like I think Rihanna, because she was pregnant, she only had like platforms moving up and down. And at one point they like intersected, I think, and the people that I was watching with were like, she made a cross, which means that she's for the devil.
Whatever that means.
People like that think everything is for the devil. I swear, like, you could be playing Monopoly and they'd be like, well, money's the root of all evil, so technically we're worshiping Satan. Can we just have one moment of peace? Like, do y'all have to bring Satan into everything? Look, if they're worshiping Satan or not, I don't care. Make the show good. People were also pissed at J-Lo and Shakira's performance, saying it was too sexy, which I find very hypocritical because they were just wearing traditional clothing for that type of music. They are dancers, so they had to wear dancing outfits. And it's super hypocritical that this is considered too sexual, but then hoes were fine with commercials of people making out with each other, full on tongue and everything, or commercials that literally sexualize women eating hamburgers almost in the nude. Apparently that's fine. Oh, but when J-Lo and Shakira show a little bit of skin, that's offensive. Girl, eat my ass. Anyways, every year, just as the commercials, the halftime show just drags in a whole bunch of people that have something to complain about. And this year with Kendrick, many people had a lot to say about his performance, of how it was offensive, too political, too woke, just too much.
Loud, too reckless, too ghetto. Mr. Lamar, do you really know how to play the game?
I feel like there's two major reactions to the Kendrick halftime Super Bowl show. One is people are just focusing on the Drake beef, and then two, people just saying that they don't like it. But it seems like both sides aren't seeing the actual overall message of his halftime show, which, I mean, that was definitely a big focus in the halftime show, down to some references and choreography, or even bringing out Serena Williams, one of Drake's supposed exes, dance to the diss track about Drake, getting the stadium to scream A minor, as well as Kendrick pulling this.
Oh, call decline. Embarrassing.
Which was so insane. Bro is literally a supervillain. Kendrick wearing a minor chain and so much more surrounding the whole Kendrick versus Drake beef. However, there is a way deeper meaning behind everything that Kendrick does. So it's no surprise that even the halftime show would also be deep. I mean, the man doesn't have a Pulitzer Prize for no reason, which if y'all don't know what that is, that in itself is a huge achievement. It's an award given by the Columbia University to recognize achievements in journalism, letters, and arts, which is considered the highest national honor in these fields, specifically for his album Damn, which has a whole storyline to it with musical pieces about the struggle between good and evil, where you can listen to the album either from beginning to end or end to beginning, and it tells a different story about the outcomes of Kendrick Lamar's life. Everything that Kendrick does has a lot deeper meaning to it. There's just no way that someone who is this highly acclaimed would just focus on a Drake beef. There's even a deeper meaning with his supposed A minor necklace, which is not an actual A minor necklace, as well as bringing out Serena Williams to Crip Walk. There is also deeper symbolism even with Samuel L. Jackson playing Uncle Sam. And so many people are talking about it all over social media, the symbolism, the deeper meanings, and all of that. But even then, people can't agree on what it all means. In this segment of the video, I'm going to be talking about basically the very clear messaging in the whole Kendrick Lamar Super Bowl halftime show, the cultural impact on it and people's reactions towards it, not necessarily whether it was executed properly or not, or anything deeper than that. For that type of critical commentary, I'd highly recommend FD Signifier, who identifies as a progressive while pursuing a PhD in sociology. I do also recommend looking at other creators of color with other political views on this, because even within the community, it's been starting a lot of conversation. Another person who has more conservative views is Amala, but she has a very great video on dissecting the Kendrick Lamar performance as well. So I highly recommend opening your horizons to listening to creators and what their thoughts are on this performance. But one thing we can definitely all agree on is that Kendrick played with a lot of symbolism throughout his entire halftime Super Bowl performance, whether it's to call out predators in the industry like Drake, call out power dynamics that were embedded within the American system from a long time ago, and also making commentary on how the state of America right now is incredibly divisive, starting from the very beginning of his halftime show.
When Kendrick's halftime show starts, it starts with like a game theme. A lot of people said that reminded them of Squid Games. There was a huge emphasis on it basically being a game. And a lot of people might look at this as just being like, oh, it's cool visuals. But this is definitely a reference to just America feeling like a game lately, almost like it's rigged for some people, and then other people have to learn how to play it and stay in line, be silent, and so on and so forth. He even started the halftime show with a revolution is about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy.
The revolution about to be televised. You picked the right time, but the wrong guy.
The revolution will be televised, many people said, is a reference to the early 70s Gil Scott-Heron track The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, who is a jazz artist. The song was released in 1971, with lyrics such as, "There will be no pictures of pigs shooting down brothers on instant replay. There will be no pictures of Whitney Young being run out of Harlem on a rail with a brand new process." The meaning of the song is that real social change and revolution won't be passively observed on television, which is actually a later reference to Kendrick Lamar's ending of the Super Bowl, where he sings "Turn This TV Off." Almost to tell us, turn the TV off and go do some real outside work. Many people saw this as kind of like a threat. Like, yeah, you chose the wrong guy to mess with, cause now I'm about to hit back. But many other people have said that this is a reference to his song Savior, where the lyrics are literally, Kendrick made you think about it, but he is not your savior. Almost like telling us in the intro that he is about to go in, of course. But though Kendrick is going to make you think about his performance and the messaging behind it, ultimately it is not him you have to pay attention to, but the greater theme of it all. Narrating Kendrick Lamar's performance and making sure that he stays in line and keeps it family friendly is Samuel L. Jackson, who plays Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam being a common national personification of the United States, depicting the federal government or the country as a whole during the manifestation of patriotic emotion.
A lot of people were like, oh, he's just meant to be like the black version of Uncle Sam. But a lot of people of color online were saying that they believed that he was actually portraying a stereotype.
But he also gave Uncle Tom to me. And we know that Kendrick is very intentional about things that he does. And let's not forget that Samuel L. Jackson played a character, I can't remember his name, in the movie Django. And he was, you know, the senior house slave, very, very adamant about serving the white people and being subservient to white people and just doing whatever he could to stay in their graces. He felt like he was better than everybody else because he was like second in command to the white people. And so throughout the entire performance, like, of course we can see it from a perspective of the government and what they have done to the black culture and black people and how they continue to put these rules in place and do things to try to censor who we are. It also gave Uncle Tom, because he is like sitting there trying to tell Kendrick what to do, what not to do, all the things that need to be done to be palatable, to be accepted.
The reason why a lot of people believe that this is so is because the Uncle Sam, represented by Samuel L. Jackson, was telling Kendrick that he was too loud, too reckless,
too ghetto,
asking him, do you actually really know how to play the game?
With the game meaning knowing how to work the American system, not only socially, but also politically, being palatable, being demure. And every time Kendrick wanted to play a song like DNA or Humble or Not Like Us, which are notoriously huge songs in pop culture, not only about, of course, Drake, but also about just the African American experience, it would trigger Uncle Sam.
That's what America wants, nice and calm.
Alongside the referring to the great American game with the PlayStation controller at the beginning, with the game over signs in the audience, with Uncle Sam asking Kendrick if he even knows how to play the game.
Scorekeeper, deduct one life.
Kendrick responds with this, which is just a commentary on the fact that historically America is set up to favor certain citizens over the rest, such as the 40 Acres and a Mule Act that Kendrick actually referenced throughout the Super Bowl, and not many people are talking about it.
40 acres and a mule, this is bigger than the music.
So 40 acres and a mule is a phrase that refers to the promise to African Americans that they would give land and resources to formerly enslaved African Americans after the Civil War. Promise was never kept. And now it's just a phrase that's used to symbolize the ongoing struggle for racial justice and also inequality when it comes to finances, owning land, and so much more. Throughout the halftime Super Bowl performance, the choreography showed a lot of symbolism as well.
Kendrick's backup dancers forming the American flag, which showed that Kendrick representing that America was founded on the backs of black people.
The dancers splitting themselves to represent that currently, politically, socially, America is pretty divided on many things. The symbolism also trickles down to what Kendrick is wearing. Many people were under the impression that his A necklace stood for Aubrey, which is Drake's real name, or stood for A minor, a lyrical line that takes a jab at Drake, but in reality it means something completely different too.
Y'all, so tell me why I'm just now finding out that the A on Kendrick Lamar's chain does not stand for A minor. That lowercase a does not stand for A minor. It stands for his brand PG Lane.
During the entire show, Kendrick really played with the fact that people were really anticipating that he would play the Not Like Us. Leading up to that moment, he brought out SZA. They both sang the song Luther, which I have been playing on repeat lately. I love it so much. When it was time to play Not Like Us, he introduced another very special guest, Serena Williams.
A lot of people thought that this was a jab to Drake because she is an ex of Drake, which first of all, I didn't even know. That is crazy. I don't know how Drake gets all these women. I mean, it has to be the money, because it's just, I don't get it. I get the ick, okay? He gives me the ick. Like, I don't get how he gets all these women, especially a baddie like Serena Williams. Like, girl, she did a public service for everyone. But she's also considered a controversial figure in the tennis world simply because she dares to show emotion, because she also celebrated with a dance that was considered too offensive for tennis.
Her cameo also nods to the backlash she got at the 2012 Olympics when she performed the same dance after winning gold in London.
Man, I did not crip walk like that at Wimbledon. Ooh, I would have been fine.
Serena Williams kind of represents what happens when people of color go into predominantly historically white spaces, especially like a sport like tennis, which fits within the theme of the game that Kendrick Lamar is proposing within the halftime show. Serena Williams is one of those people who literally can't breathe without getting absolutely dragged. Even her cameo doing this at the halftime show has sparked people within her own community to make fun of her.
So that video has over 1.3 million shares. Before he turned the comments off, it was full of people making fun of Serena Williams' looks. Who's surprised? Calling her manly, comparing her to different animals. Serena Williams has been a victim for so long of black men in particular misgendering her, calling her a man, comparing her to different animals. You really saw all that and decided to just add yourself to the number. This is somebody wearing a horse mask pretending to be Serena Williams. Some of y'all just aren't going to beat the "you don't like black women" allegations. And we see why, because you're always going to choose a viral moment. You're always going to choose making other people laugh at our expense. I already know people are going to get my comments and say it's not that deep. I don't really care if you feel that way, because until you're as decorated as Serena Williams and made fun of the way that she is unprovoked, your opinion doesn't matter.
Her cameo was definitely meant to be commentary that people should be unapologetically who they are, even if it means getting backlash from the people who are supposedly meant to be pleased by forcing people of color and their cultures to be more quiet and more palatable. And Kendrick knew this, which is why he played on that the entire time throughout his Super Bowl performance, even going as far as foreshadowing the criticism he was definitely going to get from America by using Uncle Sam as a puppet for that criticism.
Wow, too reckless, too ghetto. Mr. Lamar, do you really know how to play the game? Then tighten up!
And he was absolutely right, because people did end up getting mad at the halftime show.
Bro, I couldn't understand a word that was being said.
It was hard to make out what was actually being said. So bad, Trump was hoping someone would shoot him in the ear again.
Kendrick Lamar's 12 minutes of rap was basically a musical grudge match.
For me, it was a mass appeal.
The music itself is not broad enough or well known enough to reach generations.
When it comes to the criticism, I think, just as every criticism, there is fair criticism and then there's just people over exaggerating. I'm not gonna lie, some of the criticism that Kendrick got for this halftime show, I do agree with. I think some of the audio, I genuinely couldn't understand much. And that's not because of him rapping, that's because the audio for some reason wasn't translating well on the TV. I also think all of the censorship sometimes takes you out of the fantasy, if you will, of the whole spectacle. But to say that his halftime show was boring, it's probably boring because you just didn't get it, but also because it's probably just not in your generational bandwidth. Kendrick Lamar is definitely much more of a Gen Z millennial rapper, which is why there is behind the scenes footage of all of these old ass boomers not doing anything, not dancing, not celebrating in the audience while watching the halftime Super Bowl. Like, it really do be crickets. But then there's people on TikTok who are younger who are also dancing and doing trends along with Kendrick. So I do think a lot of the criticism comes from a generational divide, as well, of course, a political divide, which I will forever never understand the criticism that halftime shows are too political, when literally back then people were just as political in their Super Bowl halftime performances, such as Michael Jackson literally playing the song Black and White. Now, I truly believe if that was played today, people would get offended. Society has just become a lot more intolerant when it comes to these types of messages, especially when the message is being delivered in a untasteful way or too loud, as Uncle Sam says. In general, it kind of truly is just the overall stigma with rap music specifically. Kendrick is a very humble person who calls out predator behavior in Hollywood, loves God, is kawaii, if you will, and his music has so much deeper meaning than just the stereotypical things that people believe rap music to be about. Yet he's still getting hate on.
People saying that Kendrick Lamar sucked, that he deserves to get banned from the NFL halftime show. People saying that rap isn't even real music. First of all, whenever I hear people do the criticism saying like rap isn't even real music, or they say that criticism for any sort of music, the first thing that comes to my brain is like, first of all, you probably aren't listening to the right people that represent the genre. You know what I mean? There are so many people who also don't like country music. And when it comes to country music, I always say this, y'all just aren't listening to the right people. Have y'all listened to Hannah Montana's Hold Down, Throwdown? Like, come on. Zigzag, cross the floor, shuffle in diagonal. Like, come on, I'm gonna be getting down to that every time. Same as you probably aren't listening to the right people when it comes to rap music. Rap music is still music. The origin of the name is literally rhythm and poetry. There's some people out there who I'm just like, I understand why you don't like it, but Kendrick is literally known for his poetry, his rhymes, his lyricism. That's why he has so many awards, and he has gotten awards for his writing, because not only does he write everything himself, but he has lyrics and music and songs that are genuinely really good, and the beats are fire, so don't even. He also ended the performance with the TV off, which is a slight political message, which is instructing people to just not be passive consumers, but play an active role in shaping the future of culture, politics, and beyond in America. And then ending it with game over. Again, I don't know why people are surprised. Kendrick literally started it with the right time but the wrong guy. Kendrick has been notoriously a political person when it comes to so many of his artworks and art pieces and albums and stuff, that the announcement that he was going to be the person for the halftime show, personally as a huge fan of Kendrick, I was not surprised that he was going to do something somewhat symbolic or controversial, if you will. I don't understand truly why people are upset. People are allowed to express themselves artistically, and that is just something that he did. You know, we have the right to freedom of speech. We have the right to just express ourselves artistically, and that's exactly what he did. And I don't see a problem with that. Obviously, I understand people who don't agree with that political aspect could be upset, but that's just how the world is. People disagree with one another. It is what it is. But there's no denying that it was super fun and super cool to see. There was a lot of criticism about, like, next time there needs to be real music. What is real music? Music inherently is political. Music is inherently about spreading a message and stuff. I know some people were like, I want country next time. Y'all can't even handle 2 seconds of Miss Swift on your screen. And sis literally started out in country music. But in general, to take out the political part of music and art literally would just be bland as hell. I don't understand that. And in general, it seems like no one is happy with any of the commercials or the halftime shows or anything like that, because it's too political and stuff. And again, the more criticism and offense we take to that, it's like everything's just gonna go away essentially, and then there will be no cultural impact of the Super Bowl performance.
But since every single year it seems to be the same criticisms every single time, that there needs to be something more modest, more, you know, family friendly. It can't be too much, too loud, too flashy, too creative. It can't provoke thought or conversation. I do have a suggestion I feel like could please those people, and this is my suggestion for next year.
Yes.
Super Bowl used to be a thing that people, you know, did for togetherness, to have fun, and they still do, but it seems like the rise of just anger has really kind of washed away the fun part of the Super Bowl. When it comes to the commercials, there has been incidents where people really take it out on their families. Not too long ago, there was the Tubi remote commercial, and it tricked viewers into thinking that the channel was changing, and the ad caused viewers to panic and look for their remotes, but it also caused a lot of people to literally hurt their family. And there was a lot of videos about this, and it honestly was so scary. It is absolutely crazy how it takes just 15 seconds for people to completely have a crash out moment and take it out on everybody else, especially over the Super Bowl or a Super Bowl commercial or a halftime show. It's crazy how strongly and viscerally people react. I will never understand it, especially because, again, it's just a game. It is just a game. People really act as if they're the ones who are playing in it, or that the NFL people are paying their bills, which, I mean, maybe if they gamble on it, which, first of all, ain't no one told you to do that, so why are you taking it out on everyone else? It seems like every year Super Bowl culture becomes more and more toxic, and it's just so sad to see, because I swear we were enjoying it like not too long ago, and now it just seems to be a repetitive thing where it's always something. Someone's always complaining, something always goes wrong, someone is always reacting reacting violently. People just take it way too serious, which I understand being passionate about your favorite teams, but it's absolutely ridiculous that the aftermath of the Super Bowl is this messy every single year and it continuously gets worse. And to the point where you literally harm the people around you over it is, I'm sorry, that's so insanely ridiculous. And they say women are overly emotional. Let's calm down. Let's calm down. The fact that y'all can't even handle 2 seconds of my girl Taylor without getting viscerally angry, like there's just something really wrong with that. And a lot of that has to do with internalized misogyny and just outward misogyny in general. Just this hatred for the proximity of anything possibly feminine and how a lot of toxic men view that as an excuse to take their anger out on. Everything just seems to make everyone upset. Diversity makes people upset. Political messaging makes everyone upset. The halftime show makes everyone upset. Everyone's upset. Everything is too woke, too this, too that. I'm gonna wrap this up because I'm getting tired of talking about this. But at the end of the day, whether your favorite team wins or loses, we all lose when we turn a cultural event into a battleground for outrage. Even though I said that the Super Bowl is just a game, I understand why socially and politically it is more than just a game. It's a reflection of where we are as a society, for better or for worse. But when we start punishing creativity, censoring expression, and artistic direction, and seeing every halftime show as a personal attack or every commercial as a fuel for us to be violent, we're not protecting the tradition, we're stifling it. Sports, music, and entertainment thrive on passion and pushing boundaries and on making us feel something. But when we use that passion and, you know, that feeling for violence or hatred or outrage and just harming others and stuff, it's just not it, y'all. Maybe instead of getting caught up in the annual cycle of outrage, we take a step back and remember it's just a game. It's a bunch of sweaty buff men playing with balls, okay? If we continuously let the conversations every year about the Super Bowl become just this big fight and insults and everything, it doesn't matter whose team wins because we all lose. Alright guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys watched the entire thing, make sure to comment down below a duck emoji right here or your favorite animal. If you watched the entire thing, thank you guys so much for watching. I know it was a long one. You guys win an internet hug. Remember to like and subscribe and push the notification down below so you guys can get more videos such as this from me and you can get notified whenever I upload. I think I already said that, but just in case I'll say it again. Go ahead and comment down below what your opinion is on all of this. Now, I know for a fact that this video is probably gonna reach maybe some people who disagree with me, some people who are gonna call me a fat hoe and to tell me to go run into incoming traffic. I get that. Whatever. All I can say is that these are my opinions. This is how I see things. I have my own biases and stuff. You are super free to disagree with me and everything, but please do so respectfully. Please do so kindly and educationally, or else I will block you, okay? I'm not gonna be harassed on my own platform. No, ma'am. Keep it cute, keep it cordial, okay? I'm trusting you guys. All right, thank you. If you guys want to follow me on Instagram, go ahead and follow me down here at _Salem Tovar _ on my Instagram. I post some PCOS content there. I'm also going to start posting on TikTok, so follow me at Salem Tovar on TikTok. Basically, you can find me anywhere with the name Salem Tovar and you'll know immediately that it's me because you'll just know because I post crazy stuff in my stories. If you guys want to follow my voice and have my voice follow you while you're doing laundry or taking a shower or cooking, whatever, I actually have a podcast and there's probably some things you haven't seen on here that you can see on my podcast, which is the Salem Tovar podcast on Spotify, on Apple Music. Go ahead and give me a follow there. Leave me a good review. It'd be greatly appreciated. And honestly, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys so much again for watching. You know, I always end my videos with a little telling you what to do and stuff, little homework, you know. My homework for you guys is to don't take things so seriously. Go bump some Not Like Us by Kendrick, eat some buffalo wing, have a good time, just vibe. And honestly, that is it. Again, thank you so much for watching and I will see you in the next video. Bye.